Hey, sweetie.
Hello, that worked out great.
I was listening to that frickin' Sweet Meadow, man. She's nuts.
Oh
Fucking
my
nuts.
goodness.
Fucking nuts. Treating people like they're children. The woman's driving me nuts, Marla. I'm going to have to hurt her.
Take a deep breath. Out
Okay, baby.
in with the good, out with the bad, out with the bad. But listen, this is my motivation for doing this tonight is actually twofold. As I was just with you, and I'm going to share with, we're not live right now, but this is going to, after we finish, I'll make this live for everybody to watch.
Okay.
That there's a lot of ugliness in the world, and I think it's in a microcosm on YouTube. It grows quicker. It multiplies quicker, and I was seeing a lot of that as are you. So I want to put a highlight on the good, because I think good than bad. And my dear, you are one of the good. One of the few and far between, but
I love you so much.
Tremendously. And I think everybody who, with the exception of, a few who I think really secretly are jealous, absolutely fall in love with you as soon as they hear your voice, because you have such a warmth and a sense of empathy comes through that I'm sure has been cultivated from a very interesting life. So that's why I've chosen to interview today. So I hope that's okay.
Yes.
If you don't want to answer, just, feel free to pass. But I'm nosy, and I like to get to know people that I look up to better. So we'll just go ahead and get started, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Marla. Ask away, doll.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say Happy New Year. I can't believe it's almost February. It's going by so quickly.
I know.
Looking back on your 2017, how would you rate your 2017?
Actually, it was, I would say about 50-50, good and bad.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Do you mind me asking your age?
I will be 62 in April.
Oh my goodness. I did not realize. The reason I was thinking you were quite a bit younger.
Yeah, 62.
I heard you say 50 the other day.
No, I was born in 1956.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I heard. But
yeah,
if you're 60 plus years, is that about normal words? Some good, some bad, or do you find that you have some really good years and some really not good years?
You know what's so funny, Marla, is when you're in your teens, you can't wait till you're 18 and get the heck out of the house, right?
Right.
But when you get 18, then you struggle and you're thinking, gosh, I wish I could be back home. The food is free, the rent is free, the clothes are free. And then you have kids, and I had 2 children, boy and a girl.
Okay.
And
that was one of my questions. I can check that off.
Yeah, there you go. And then the real struggle comes in. Working, a marriage that's not working. You've got bills. When you're a young couple, you accumulate all these bills, new car, new home, and that really makes a struggle on everybody, right? So I would say that the easiest of all my years were probably in my 40s.
Oh, really? Well, that gives me hope, because I'm 40 and I'm looking for her, so.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
You have a lot of the wisdom.
Okay.
But you know what not to do and what to do to change, and you're still young enough to do it.
I've heard a lot of people say that they really enjoyed their 40s. I always say if I could go back in time to a period in my life, it would be college. I just, it's one of those rare times I think I knew I was having a good time. Like what you were saying, you always think it's going to be better. And then you look back and think, oh, that was actually really great. It was one of the moments in my life where I thought, okay, this is really cool. I better soak it up,
Yeah.
Well, that makes me hopeful then about my 40s. Well,
yeah.
I just back it up a little bit. How long have you been on YouTube, and where did you get your name?
I just started in YouTube in, let me see, August, September, October, November. I just started in YouTube the end of August.
Okay. So I caught you right when you were starting then. Well, where were you beforehand?
Yeah. Actually just sitting around the house feeling sorry for myself.
I love it. It's a funny thing how something can take up a lot of your life all of a sudden, and you think, "Gosh, what did I do beforehand?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you do try to do a daily show. You try to do
Mm-hmm.
a daily live stream, right?
Right. I do
Mhm.
now. When I first started off, I was just doing, well, I was going a lot to a friend's house who is on hospice and dying of cancer.
Uh-huh.
And so I was going there as much as possible. Plus, I have my PST or PTSD and then my social anxiety. And so I was having a lot of panic attacks now when I leave the house. So I just became a recluse. And I
Uh-huh.
play a lot of online gaming.
Do you?
So I didn't have to watch anybody or see anybody. I'd just get in there and focus on that.
That
And
sounds familiar to me. What type of what's like the number one game that you would play?
well, I played Delta Force Extreme, which is like a
Okay.
$10 game, but I've played it for like 8 years.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and it's, of course, I talk with people on TeamSpeak, talk with other people all over the world, and you just go in and you shoot and kill people. So when I get mad, I just go in and shoot somebody, and heck, I feel all better.
Well, now you seem like you mentioned your anxiety, particularly social anxiety, PTSD. You appear to be very socially relaxed to me
Mm-hmm.
and a people person. So I guess two questions. Is that something that developed later in life, or
Mm-hmm.
are you different? If we were to meet in real life, would you be different um,
Um,
than
yeah.
than we see you now?
Yep. See, now I used to play professional drums, so I was a very
Did
outgoing.
you really?
Yeah, I was a
That
professional
is
musician.
awesome.
Yep, for many, many years. And so I was very outgoing. Now, I didn't become this way until after the death of my mother and my cancer.
Okay.
It started with my cancer, then when the death of my mother became really bad.
So it's trauma induced.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Wow.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'd like to come back and revisit that topic in a little while,
Yeah.
but tell me the latter part of the question. Where did Uber Goober the name come from?
I used to drive for Uber.
Oh,
That's where it came from.
that's funny
Yeah.
because I told a friend I was interviewing Uber, and just assuming everybody knows who Uber is, and she's like, "Your car driver?" I said, "No." Oh, okay. So you were an Uber driver.
Yep, for a
How long
couple
did you do that?
months. Just for a couple
Oh, okay.
months. To get
And
a
how did
little
that
bit
go?
of extra money. It went okay. It went okay. Of course, we got the naval base just down the road here,
Uh-huh.
a few miles. So I would get a lot of rides from the naval base.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they don't have vehicles and that
Uh-huh.
a lot of them. So, but
You
I
mean
did that for a
good-looking
couple
soldiers
months.
that you'd pick up?
Quite a few
You
good-looking
go, yeah.
soldiers. Yeah, Navy man.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
fluttering a little bit.
I know it. All the little guys are so damn cute, aren't they?
I tell you what, that would probably be my worst job ever is to be an Uber driver. I have no sense of direction. I haven't. My mother has even worse. So I've inherited the worst sense of no. Even saying turn here, I swear I would get lost.
Hey, I'm
I would
the
be fired
same
on day
way.
one.
I'm the same way. Even especially, I had just moved up here, so I had no idea where anything was.
Oh, okay. And
So I had to learn.
You're in Washington State right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I moved up here
Um,
from Texas.
okay, well, I was going to ask you, I noticed when I was talking to you earlier, your phone number came up as Texas. So
Yeah,
you've been a little bit of everywhere. But your accent is Northern.
yeah. I was born and raised in Montana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. From Montana down to Texas, and of course, I traveled all over playing music. But
Okay.
from Montana down to Texas, and then from Texas up here.
So tell me how you got involved. I know you've got a beautiful singing voice because we all got to hear just a few notes of it and a little bit in some of the parodies that you've done.
Oh,
So I knew that you were musical, but I had no
hmm
idea that the drums were the background. So
yeah.
how did that happen?
Well, my grandfather ran for governor for the state in the state of Montana.
Okay.
And he used to have, back in the day, they had a group called the Polka Party. And he would have a TV show every Saturday night, and he would have a polka band. And one of his accordion players, Chuck Malker was his name, would let me crawl up on old Teddy's drum set and play the drums. And so he told my folks, my granddad and my folks, he said, that girl's got some rhythm.
Oh my
You need to
goodness.
get her a drum set. So on my 7th birthday, I got my first drum set from my grandpa. And I took drum lessons every Saturday. And I mean, I'm not talking just somebody that wanted to mess around. My folks were serious because they weren't too well to do. If I wanted to, I had to practice a half hour every day. If I missed a day, it would be an hour the next day.
Wow.
And they had to hear me. I could hear my mom screaming downstairs, I'm not hearing you play those damn drums. You better get to practicing.
And an unusual instrument for a female.
Yes, yes. I was the first girl in the state of Montana to receive my NERD, which is the National Association of Rudimental Drummers.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and
Oh,
I mean,
what a neat accomplishment.
well, I enjoyed it, and I took professional drum lessons for 15 years.
So was this a career for you, or was this just a hobby?
No, it ended up being a career. I was on the road for many, many years.
With different professional bands, or?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
I played with a group called the Dalton Gang in the wintertime. We were a 7-piece group, and our home was in David City, Nebraska. And then in the summertime, we were a 14-piece show group called Country with a Touch of Brass. And we did front shows for like Willie Nelson, Mo Bandy, Patsy Montana, and all of them. And then on our downtime, we worked at a little recording studio called Renee Recording Studio, and we were backup musicians.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, is Willie Nelson as amazing as I think he is?
He is a short little shit and very nice guy.
Oh, goodness. That is so funny you say that. It seems like everybody that I've met in real life that, has been a famous person has been short. Everybody's much smaller in real life than you.
Yeah.
Well, how did you mentioned that you have 2 children, a boy and a girl? Yep,
boy and a girl. My son is 40. My son is 43, and my daughter will be 40.
Okay. And how long were you married?
Well, which time?
Oh, okay.
No, that was the first time for 6 years.
Out how you had your career and if you were able to travel when you had your children. So tell me that chunk of your life where you were raising a family.
Well, what I did was we were married for 6 years. And when their dad and I divorced, I left him the home and everything. And of course, I had to go out there and make a living, and all I knew was playing drums. I didn't go to college, I didn't do anything. So he raised the kids. And then I was out on the road. And so when I got back, then we would reverse roles. And so that's how we did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Make me think, your children closer to their father growing up?
Well, yeah, they are. But right now, not so much to anybody. My son was in a terrible accident here about 15 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let me put that back in 2005. So that would be 15 years ago, 13 years ago. He was working for a sugar beet factory, and the railroad train that they were pushing, he saw was going to derail out by the sugar beet factory and go into traffic. He threw the flag up to tell the guy to quit pushing the train. The guy didn't see him and ran the train over my son.
Oh my gosh.
Decapitating both his legs, or amputating his legs. One there on the site, and then of course after that he had a total of 4 amputations. And my son went into a deep depression.
Well, he was only what, like 25 at the time?
29. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, it's been a long haul. And so he doesn't have too much to do with any of us, none of his family anymore.
He's
He's
isolated from everybody.
isolated. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, but
Yeah.
not that anything that tragic has happened to me, but I understand when you lose your physical mobility, it's
Mm-hmm.
so mentally and spiritually hard and in such
Yeah.
an extreme way when you're so young.
Yeah. He was very outgoing. And he still is. I keep tabs on him. Even though he doesn't know that I do, I do. And I've talked to his, I talked before it got too deep. I talked to a psychologist about it. And he
Mhm.
told me it could take him up to quite a few years to get adjusted in his brain to what's
Uh-huh.
happened to him, and he may never get comfortable with it.
Hmm.
But he was dancing and hunting and skiing and swimming, and I mean he was always out there.
That's what makes it
So
even harder.
yeah, it was very, very devastating, and even to this day, I saw my kids here. Let me see, I think it was 3 years ago when my mother passed. So I
That's the
saw
last time
them.
you've seen your children?
Yeah, they're in Montana. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And I'm so sorry. That's just, it's almost like you have to mourn the loss of a whole life because
Hmm.
that's the way I feel too. I will never do the things I thought I would be able to do, and not as
Right.
extreme of a way that it was what happened to your son, but I had to let go of all my expectations of who I was and who I used to be and say that that was then and this is now. And that's a very difficult thing to do, even on the small level that I had to do it on. So,
It's a
um,
new normal, isn't it, Marla?
yeah, but I mean, just getting the fact that he's alive,
Hmm.
courage, it really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it was pretty
Um,
scary.
okay, so they're both in Montana. And then I assume you remarried?
I did. And then
Okay.
my last relationship, I was with him for 10 years. We just lived together. And
Is
I
this
kicked
the
his
one I
ass
hear
out.
you? You don't speak very fondly of this one, I don't think.
No, no, he was mean and cruel, boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Certainly
Yeah,
not what you deserve. Not what you deserve at
that's
all.
okay.
Well, so you're currently living by yourself then,
Hmm.
Washington. How long have you been retired?
Actually, I retired. Well, from playing music, I retired when I turned 50. And then actually, I retired, let me see, almost little over 2 years now from the bank.
Okay.
I worked at a bank.
Oh,
And
okay. You went
yeah,
from one extreme to the other, didn't you?
yeah, I worked at a bank when I was down in Texas. I worked down there for 6 years. And then when I moved up here, I worked for a bank and I just retired from them. Actually, it was
Okay.
my health that made that decision for me.
Yes, so I wanted to ask you some more about that because you know what shocked me the other day. I mean, obviously we can see that you need oxygen,
Uh-huh.
and you said something like when you first had to wear that you didn't want to because you were embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
Well, why? That's such a
Hmm.
but putting myself in your shoes. I mean, you are that I guess would be a human reaction to have, but
Hmm.
you don't even see it when you look at you. I mean, a person doesn't even see it because your spirit is so big.
Oh,
I just can't even, it hurts me to think you would even have that thought because nobody sees that about you. They just see your heart is just so big. And even
oh.
the time that I've known you and you've been on YouTube, you've impressed so many people. And I you are a gift. You really are. And I don't know if you,
Thank you, Marla.
um, but if you could, it seems like everybody is struggling nowadays. I hear those things constantly, anxiety and depression, that it's everybody, it's rampant. And why do you think that is? And what's been your experience with the anxiety and depression that you have?
A lot of it, to be honest with you, I think a lot of it is the social and the financial burden that are on people nowadays, to be honest
Uh-huh.
with you. The financial burdens are really, I could remember my dad going to work and my mother staying home and raising us kids. It's not like that anymore. The parents are having to work 2 or 3 jobs. The
Of
kids are
course.
running rampant. They don't have the family structure like they used to. So that right there puts a lot of stress on families, puts a lot of
Hmm.
stress on individuals trying to do the right thing.
Just to make it, not
Just
even
to
to
make it.
live in luxury or excess, just to make it.
Just to make it. And then when you get all of that under control, then there's no time for the family in itself. Individual relationships with your spouse, your partner, your
Hmm.
friends. There is no time for that. And people start feeling like they're being ignored, which puts more pressure on people. So I feel that there's a lot of social pressure on individuals to try to go back to the way it was back in the 50s and 60s, and it's not going to be like that anymore. This is our new norm. We just got to learn how to work around it. But in the meantime, each and every one of us is under so much pressure that all we want to do constantly is fight and bicker, and we don't know how to handle it. So
Hmm.
there you get your anxiety. You get your anxiety right there.
Well, when was the first time you remember having like a real anxiety attack, or where you knew that this was something bigger than just nerves?
My first anxiety attack, I'd have to say, well, that's a tough one.
You said it was after your cancer, and then after your mother died.
Yeah, I
Was
would
it
say
before
my
that?
anxiety attack would probably be right after I got done with probably my last surgery, with my last cancer surgery.
And do you think that was just a coincidence brought on? That seemed like it'd be a time to rejoice. Um, but what do you think caused that? Do you have any idea?
Well, it's not so much a rejoice. When you have breast cancer, as you well know, and a lot of people, as you well know, a lot of people use a female's breasts as
Right.
a sexual or an identity to the female. Oh God, that chick over there's got a rack on her.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the tits on that one. So people identify with a woman's breasts. So when you don't have a set of breasts anymore, you carry around a purse in front of you or a pillow or a sweater to hide that. So I wouldn't say having my last surgery is much of a excitement as where do I go from here?
What do you do now?
What do I
Wow.
do now? Yeah.
So beautifully put.
Mm-hmm.
Really made me think.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, it's so interesting because my perception of you is somebody who wouldn't even care because you're so confident and you so are knowing that your worth is so greater than any physical um, part of you. But you are a human and you are a woman, and I don't know. I see you as being flawless. It shocks me.
Oh,
No, I'm
thank you.
serious to see. I mean, obviously you struggle just like anybody else does, but I just want anybody, I don't know, I want to shake society and say, look at this, look what you're doing to people. Um,
I think that's why for me, Marla, when you see me not sweating the small stuff,
yeah.
it's because I've learned to pick my battles. I've learned things I can't have control of, things I can.
Is that
I've been
mainly from
over,
your cancer battle?
yeah, that too. Yep, from being raped, from being going through cancer, to finding my mother dead on the floor,
Oh,
not being
no.
able to revive her. So I've I've learned that it's okay. I've always told everybody through the storm there will be a rainbow.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you were raped. How old were you when that happened?
I was 18.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was
And
18.
was the person ever prosecuted?
Yes, he was.
Oh, good.
Yes, he
Wonderful.
was. And he had
Do you
just
know
gotten
what?
out of prison.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, at least some sort of justice was served.
Yeah.
But you carry that with you for the rest of your life.
Sure.
I'm sorry that's
Sure.
happened to you. And then your mother, what happened with her death?
Well, this kind of goes with what you had said that I had said, my biggest regret. And we lived in a home where our bedrooms were right across the hall from each other.
Uh-huh.
So I could always hear my mother in the middle of the night get up with her walker and run into the doorway, to get out and move her walker and go out.
Was this when you were small? When you were
No,
growing?
this is when I was taking care of my mother down in Texas.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So I always could hear my mom in the middle of the night when she'd get up. Normally I could. Now I'm taking Ambien for sleeping. So you know how that works, So
I'm listening. I was putting some of this on my tooth, so I'm going to
bless your heart.
screen for a second. I'm sorry. No, I'm still having toothache issues. So
bless your heart.
Keep talking.
Okay, so I always could tell when she got up because I could hear her walker banging to the doorway. And then, I could hear her walking down the hallway. And there's sometimes, I'd say, hey, Mom, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, not thinking too much about it. So anyway, it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember. I think it was closer to 3. I heard her run her walker into the doorway. And of course, I woke up long enough and I fell back asleep. Didn't think anything of it. And I was supposed to go in for a sleep study test. And I didn't go. And that next morning, the nurse called from my oncology and she said, you were supposed to come in for a test. You didn't show up. I said, yeah, I had some family issues, which it didn't really, but I said, had some family issues and just didn't make it. She said, okay, and hung up the phone. Well, that was about 8 o'clock in the morning. So I got up, went out. Mom still wasn't up. So I went ahead and made coffee and sat our coffee cups out there for both of us. I had my cup of coffee, went outside, had a cigarette, and came back in. And I went ahead and sat on the couch for a little bit and wasn't feeling very good. And I fell asleep and went back to sleep. So at about 12 noon, I woke up. And this has been, I can't remember why I was not feeling good. Well, I think I had just gotten done doing chemo and shit, radiation, actually. No, I just gotten done having surgery. And so I went out. Mom still hadn't been up. Her coffee cup hadn't been filled. So I had another cigarette and went back in, sat there for a bit. And I went in to check on her, and I went to open up her bedroom door and opened it up. I had to push her walker away, and she was laying on the floor dead.
Oh, my goodness.
So I did CPR on her. I could not revive her. And if I would have woke up and paid attention, when I heard her bang her walker into that door, I might have been able to save her life.
Wow. Well, boy, I sure do have a list of regrets and what ifs, and if I'd only done it differently. And I think all of us have that, Uber.
Yeah.
I know it would be easy for me to say, well, you can't blame yourself. Was it? And you can know these things, but to actually know them in your heart, it's different.
Right.
Have you changed your opinion about the answers to those questions, or do you feel the same way?
Well,
that day?
We didn't know why she passed. Her oncologist, who happened to be my cancer doctor also, I had called that day and let her know Mom had passed. And she called me the next day and I said, Dr. Leah, I don't understand what happened. I don't understand what happened. And she said, Kathy, it could be that she had a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing was, well, and it's not funny, but when I was doing CPR and I called 911, and I call him Doc Collins, he was our vet. And he came in and he drugged me off of Mom and he said, Kathy, come over here and sit down. And then he took me outside and I said, Doc, I don't understand what happened. He said, Stop asking why it happened. You were a good daughter. You did
That's
everything you
right.
could. And he said, it's just was her time.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I don't think, even if it had played out differently,
mhm,
regret, the what ifs, all those questions would probably still be there because death
yeah,
is an awful thing in a lot of ways because we don't know if it's the we could have done something different. I mean, even
right.
putting down I had who was very very ill and it was his time to go. I still beat myself up with I could have done something differently. So
Yeah.
in the case of your mother, who I am, I can only imagine how difficult that was.
Mhm.
Do you have any words of wisdom that you could share with anybody who might be in a similar situation? How do you put that regret and turn it into something that you can live with, or is that something that really really is still a struggle for you?
It's still a struggle for me. I'm still going through counseling, you know. Um, I can't change it. It happened. I can't change it. Would I want it to change? You know, to be honest with you, my mom wanted to die.
Right.
She was ready to go.
And maybe that's why she didn't want you to do,
Hmm.
maybe she was glad that you didn't hear her,
Hmm.
revive her.
Right.
You actually gave
So
her some peace.
there's a lot of if it woulda, coulda,
Mm-hmm.
shoulda. It's all planned out for me already, so I have to
That's
accept
exactly
that.
right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Um, well, changing subjects just a little bit. I appreciate
Hmm.
those very difficult things. My goodness, you've had really more than your share of trauma. And boy, it makes me realize we all can name people quickly who complain a lot on this here YouTube and who try to act like their lives are worse than everybody else's. And it's always been my finding that the people who you think have these lovely lives and they seem so happy probably
Hmm.
have more trauma than
You're exactly.
ones who are boohooing all the time. So once again, I just respect you so much because you
Oh.
have a joy that probably a lot of people who have gone through the things that you've mentioned, and I'm sure there's probably more, with your son and your mother and your own things that have happened to you in your life. My goodness,
Hmm.
you could sit in a corner, right, and cry. But um, what has YouTube given you, good and bad, I guess, because we know there is a little bit of both. But you mentioned that you were a gamer before. What have
Hmm.
you found in YouTube that has allowed you to stay so far?
Well, I think for me, it's kind of like a social outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I get real disgusted with the drama at times, but it's a social outlet. It has opened my eyes to see the good and the bad in everybody. Um,
I heard you say the other day to somebody you were talking about. I think it was Care Bear that is being stalked, and
mhm.
somebody said something like, "Well, just get off the internet, then."
Mhm.
To paraphrase what you said, but it was very powerful. You said she is a shut-in like I am, and this is her only outlet. And to take that away just because somebody else is doing something wrong is not fair.
No,
I think that people understand who have different options and have the option to get out and have a whatever out with the girls,
mhm.
whatever it might be, don't realize that this is a very powerful platform, and for a lot of people, it's all they have.
Exactly. For me, Marla, to get off of this chair, to walk out my living room and back, which is probably 50 feet,
Uh-huh.
I struggle to breathe.
And see, I think I want to ask you a little bit more about that. Like, what we see is just what you let us see.
Mhm.
And you're not there now, but one of the questions I had was, what is on your wall behind you?
Oh, Oh yeah.
You're there now, but it looked like me. I create this world in my head of what you might be doing there throughout the day, and it looks like a bunch of awards, like Uber's the best person in the world award.
That's my
Is that what's
music
on behind
wall.
you?
That's my
Your angel
music
wall?
wall. My music
Oh, okay.
wall. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was pictures of the people I played music with. It's my very first snare drum. And then if you go and listen to Amanda's stream last night, she had a talent contest. So I played my drums for her on my desk.
So cool.
Yeah.
And of course, you got your angel doggy too. We all love and get to see. I mean,
yes.
I think your animals are often a reflection of you, and your little guys, Harley and Bentley, couldn't be more.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit about like a daily kind of more of the technicalities of your life. Because you're on oxygen, but I think people don't understand what that really means.
Right.
I know that you had gotten approved to have a caretaker. So maybe the best way is, can you walk me through like a typical day?
Sure.
You get up, what's the first thing you do at night? Just kind of just a basic, not exciting day.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, my life consists of pretty much technology.
Mm-hmm, so, which is wonderful. I mean, wonderful that you keep your brain going that way.
Mm-hmm, because I enjoy it, number one. But I have a bed that raises up or down so I can breathe. I have to sleep on 3 pillows underneath my right arm because of my surgery, my breast surgery. I have lymphedema, and I also have a lot of pain from the scar tissue from the radiation. I have a lot of scar tissue. I have like a big rock in my chest.
Oh my goodness. And you said that causes you a lot of pain?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Oh. There's a certain name for it, the radiation, and the doctor said it, and I don't remember it. So, and then I sleep with a CPAP and oxygen on. Okay. So I have a nose piece that goes around here, straps on, and then this huge hose at the top of my head. So that goes behind my bed. So I'm
doesn't sound comfortable. I guess you can only sleep on your back then.
I sleep actually on my side, kind of halfway. Yeah, it's not comfortable, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. You know, used to just about anything.
Yeah. And I get up in the morning with the dogs and, of course, go potty, take my medicine, go out and let the dogs out. And then I go in the kitchen and I stand at my kitchen sink and make myself coffee. And then I watch my news and catch up on the world news and my messages and everything. And do my garbage, do my dishes, whatever I have to do. It's just a real boring day, actually.
So the room that we see you in, is that where you spend most of your time?
Nope. This is my office. This is where I keep all my oxygen and everything. Actually, I spend most of my time out in the living room, and I have a computer out there hooked onto my TV, but I don't have a camera set up there. Okay. So I have to come in here and use my computer in here.
Well, in contrast to that, if you could just for a minute think about what would be, if you had no physical limitations, not all the money in the world, but enough money to do what you would like to do for a day, could describe to me what would be your dream day? Just to, not like outlandish, best in the world, but what would be like a kind of like an ideal day for you?
I would love to go to the ocean, which is a couple hours away from here. I would like to get a room on the ocean. And I would love to have some lobster. That's my favorite meal. Shrimp and lobster. And I'd like to walk a day on the beach and collect shells and stuff. Yeah. That would be my ideal day.
Even with oxygen, you can't walk very far at all.
No, I have to use a scooter, which I don't have one. But I haven't been to Walmart like even in a year. I don't even do my own grocery shopping.
So is that what your caretaker takes care of for you, things like that?
She just started. She's actually helping me clean house. My friend who's dying of cancer, her wife comes and does my grocery shopping once a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she comes and gets my list, and then
If
she'll
I
go
could
grocery
live,
shopping.
if I was close to you in any way, shape, or form, I would come take care of you.
Oh, bless your heart. I would
Such
take
a
care of you too. We'd
thrill.
be a hell of a
We
match,
could take
wouldn't
care of
we,
each
Mama?
other. We'd have our scooters together, right?
We'd be, yeah, exactly.
No, but I just throughout everything, you just have such a warmth. I always said that you're the sister everybody wants, the best friend,
Oh,
first, the mom. You're just that person. Have
you
you?
know,
Have people always been attracted to you like that?
they have. They have.
You,
Oh,
yeah,
I've
you
made
can
some
tell.
enemies. Don't get me wrong. I'm telling you, I've been
Like
called
a
a few names here and there.
listen, like I said at the very start of this, some people can find that easy attraction threatening.
Yeah, yeah. I've got to say that I have been very overwhelmed with all the love and the care that I've received on
Oh, really?
here.
Mhm.
But yet, in other words, it makes me feel good,
Yes.
that people look at me as being a loving and caring person because I always am, or I try to be the
But
best
you
that I
see,
can.
even beyond that, people trust you. There's so
Hmm.
you just you're like the Oprah of YouTube, where people just they know that
Oh,
in given a situation, they know you're going to make the right choice. You know, it's just something about you. You kind of exude integrity, and I just can't get enough of you. I think that you're,
oh, honey.
and like I said, it just on a ballot when you vote for somebody, you can just vote all way or another way. I would just say for Uber once. If I'll
You're
just vote
so
however
sweet.
Uber's voting.
You're so sweet.
Well, thank you so much for sharing so much. I'm going to just do some quick questions.
Sure,
Hopefully, that'll just be not so deep and heavy.
sure.
And then we'll see if there's anything else that's come up.
Okay, honey, you just shoot
Okay.
away.
Best book or movie that you've seen recently? Best book you've read or movie you've seen recently?
The Notebook.
Have you just now saw that?
No, that is my
That's
favorite
an
book.
all-time favorite. Oh,
That's my
my
all-time
ex-boyfriend
favorite.
loved that movie too.
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful book, though. It reminded me of my
Oh, the book
grandparents.
itself.
The book
Well,
itself is wonderful.
what did you say? It reminded you of what?
My grandparents.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Nicholas Sparks he's from North Carolina. All his books are he tries to make them all based around the Outer Banks, particularly. And I have a friend who just did you see the one that the movie he did called it was about the house at the Outer Banks with the big storm. It was Richard Gere
Oh yeah, yeah. What was
um,
that? Not
and
the perfect storm. It was
it was so good. It was so good.
Message in a Bottle.
She just got married at what is it called?
Message in a Bottle.
Yes. Well, she just got married at that house. It actually had gotten destroyed in a hurricane, but they rebuilt it. Anyway, off topic.
Oh wow.
It sounds like people are you're very needed. I keep hearing your phone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it goes off
That's
like
okay.
this all day long.
Well, that's a good thing. People
Here, let me. Sorry.
okay. Worst job you've ever had?
Worst job?
Hmm.
Cleaning toilets and being a maid in a motel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I think I was like 15 or 16. I went and got a part-time job, and that was one of them.
Just because it was gross.
Oh, it was so gross. People are so nasty.
People are nasty, aren't they?
Nasty.
Oh, okay.
But it was a job.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're young like that, sometimes you'll do just about anything. But okay, a food you always eat too much of.
Oh, eggs.
Eggs. Any particular way?
No, I'll use them scrambled. I'll make an omelet, deviled egg sandwiches or crackers. Yeah, any way you got them, I'll eat them.
Eggs. Okay, well, that's a pretty healthy indulgence. How about favorite TV show? Current TV show
Um,
of all, it seems like of all time seems harder, but either one.
That's difficult because I like a lot of them, but I would have to say Little People. With
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
with
didn't realize it was still on.
Jennifer Arnold.
Okay. Is she a little person?
Yes, she's a little person. Her and her husband are down in Dallas, Texas. Well, now they live in Florida, but
Um,
yeah, little people, big world.
is she the one that's a physician?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
I've heard before.
She
They're
just
really neat.
is so sweet. They are the best people. Yeah,
Do you like a lot of reality TV? Is that what you like
I
to
do. I'm terrible.
do you watch her by any chance?
What's that?
You watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette?
No, but I watch all the New York or the Housewives.
Do you? What's your favorite
Yes.
housewife?
It would be the one down in California. It would be
Palm Springs. Is it Palm Springs?
no,
Watch
Orange
it, so I don't
County.
know.
The Orange
Oh,
County.
okay.
Yeah. And it's not Lisa. There's quite a few of them that I like.
Okay.
But
That's so funny. Who's the guy that always interviews them? I love him.
Andy Cohen.
I love Andy Cohen.
Yeah.
Cute. Okay. Would you ever get married again?
Nope.
That was a quick answer.
Nope.
Okay. Your biggest regret?
Couldn't bring my mother back to life. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
A movie that always makes you cry?
Oh boy. I don't know.
Are you do you cry easily?
It depends on the movie. No.
I
But
cry constant. I cry I cry a lot in real life, but I cry a lot at movies and things.
yeah. See, now I can't watch the commercials with the dogs and the animals.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even watch them. I got to turn it.
Okay.
But movies, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Something that even though I've not obviously know exactly what's going to happen and seen it probably literally 100 times, Steel Magnolias.
Oh yeah, I really like that movie too.
I do
Yeah.
too. Okay. How about a memory that always makes you smile?
Probably would be when I was in the recording studio. My dad was listening to a playback of a song that I recorded called Go Out Walking After Midnight, Patsy Cline. And he was sitting in the middle. He was sitting in the middle of the recording studio with the headset on, and he was sitting backwards in the chair, so his arm resting like this. And I was in the control room, and you could watch him, and he was sitting there like this, with his back against me. And for my dad to do that,
I can just picture it.
Yeah, yeah.
And what a great song.
Yeah.
That's a good memory, and you thought of that pretty quickly too. I like that.
Oh yeah. It comes to my mind. Yep.
Favorite room in your house?
Favorite room in my house is probably, it would have to be my bedroom.
Okay.
Even though I only spend about 7 hours in there, it's comfortable.
Yes, I just found out I've spent my whole I spent a lot of time in my bed, even when I was healthy. I did all my studying, like in college and high school and everything. I always was in my bed. And I just found out recently that Winston Churchill used to, on a regular basis, not get out of bed until 1:30. He did his,
Wow.
He would take his breakfast in bed and then do his work. And he was a very successful man. So I too feel like I can still.
There you go, Cookie.
From the bed.
That's right.
Okay, well, I think that just about does it. Anything
okay, else sweetheart.
Would like to share or anything that
Nope, just
I really picked your brain, didn't I?
Keep smiling. Yeah, you did. Just keep smiling. Tomorrow's a better day.
That's right. We can all hope. Well, and I appreciate once again being so open and just being yourself, and don't get discouraged yourself by the ugliness, because even though it does seem like at times it's all around us, there's still bright lights. And
I know, sweetie.
Just know that you are loved very much.
And you are too, Marla, and you remember that. You've got my phone number now, so if you ever need to talk, call me.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for talking to me before this.
You're welcome.
All right. And thank you guys.
I love you, sweetie.
Watching this, and look forward to some more interviews coming up. Love you all. Love you, Uber. Good night.
I love you.